Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So we're kind of comparing the different styles here of the way the B team approaches their show, the way the Nuno way is, and probably Nick. I think Nick's kind of maybe not as...
Nick's like the most straight-laced, buttoned-up one in this entire office.
Yes, he is.
Until you get him outside of the office, and then you find out he's a complete degenerate like the rest of us, which is awesome.
But
looking forward to Boys Day, Nick.
I'm supposed to be going out of town here shortly, and I know for a fact at 2 a.m. I heard Christian playing video games that hadn't packed yet. I know I shouldn't label people.
I'm like that.
A lady that I might be married to, I don't think has packed yet. So I got some issues there, right? Because I want to leave on time and not get Baton Rouge traffic.
Sure.
We got some house sitters, so anybody who's thinking about coming by, you can meet Mr. AK. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Our executive editor and co-owner, Billy Liucci, is on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Let's go straight to it. Mr. Liucci, good morning, sir. How are you?
Nuno, how are you?
Good, man.
You talking a big game? I hear you talking a big game within the first minute of the show. It's always good to know.
Yeah, but, you know, I stay consistent. I heard you yesterday just railing the B team. It was good content, though. I enjoyed it.
An all-time performance, Billy. Well done. Again, just amazing.
No, it's vain.
What? At
well,
what point?
Don't sound so dejected and disappointed, Bill. Wow.
Well, I tune in and Nuno's talking about how his housekeepers are going to be shooting people with AK-47s in College Station. So
I just have to say it because there are weirdos listening.
I was a little surprised by the unnecessary aggression this morning.
Billy,
a little early for that.
If you go out of town and people know you're out of town, crazy people. So I just made sure that I got 2 people in the military staying at my house. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah.
Which military are these 2 in?
Shout out to Philip Vargas. He's got my back. Anyway, and if I need to, I'll call Steve Nagley. Billy, let's talk about 5-star linebacker Caden Henderson announcing his decision to A&M. This is one that I know that our recruiting team felt good about. In the morning, I wasn't sure what direction it was going to go, and then it ended up being A&M's way.
It was trending A&M's way. It felt like for but for a while in this recruitment. And then, you know, as it gets closer to crunch time, you know, Notre Dame, somebody's always going to make a real push. And in this instance, you know, most times with someone that you felt good about for a while, you land them, not all the time. And so that kind of wild card factor was still in it. So, and Notre Dame's obviously formidable, what they've done on the field lately under Marcus Freeman. So you couldn't chalk it up. But then here in the last, I'd say 4 or 5 days or so leading up to it, it really seemed to shift like, okay, as the decision's getting near, once he, announced that decision was coming, that felt good about it happening for A&M. But again, with a player of that profile, man, you don't count chickens before they hatch, no matter what. We've seen it a million times. And on both, we've been on both sides of that. So to get that one across the finish line and have him be a proud and excited member of this class is, I don't think I need to say how significant it is, but, he's a 5-star linebacker. He's a 5-star defender in the SEC. He's a player that has set atop, more importantly, A&M's wish list the entire time. He's a prospect that everyone in the country wanted came down to Notre Dame, and LSU. This was a big one, man. This was a really, really big one.
Well, Billy, when you look at Caden Henderson, how likely is it that he could have an immediate impact when he arrives on campus? And then also, you've been doing it a long time, so do you want to play the player comparison game? When you see his film, who does he remind you of coming out of high school?
Who does he remind me of? I'm trying to think of it. Honestly, he reminds me a lot because of his size. He's not that 6'3", 235 type that, like, you saw Bama taking a lot during that stretch run of Saban once he got it going. He reminds me a lot of the LSU linebackers early on when A&M was in the SEC. Those guys, they played like Kevin Minter, played forever in the NFL, he still plays. Like a lot of those, if you go back and look at a lot of those LSU guys, they were, in that 6 foot, 6'1", little 6'1" plus range, and just downhill playing dudes. And that's what he can chase. He can play downhill. He looks very fluid in cover. He's an every down linebacker, but he's also he just got a nose for the football and can fly to it. And then his tackling is what jumps out to me. He detonates. The timing of knowing kind of when to launch into the target. That can't really be coached. You go back to probably the most successful SEC linebacker for A&M, Edgerrin Cooper. They're different build guys, but that's what stood out to me about Edgerrin from day one, even though he didn't have this type of recruiting hype. When they took him, he was a flip from Utah. I think he picked A&M over OU and then late charged by LSU, but he wasn't a 5-star, but he was starting to get recruited like that towards the end, but flew under the radar most of it. But the one thing that jumped out at me was that you've got that with Henderson plus everything else, which is why he was recruited by the entire country and a 5-star. Like I said, he is not a developmental like Edge was. He is a very early impact player. You're hopefully coming into a program that's residing in the top 10. Hopefully by the time he gets here, coming off back-to-back playoff berths, it's not like, here, let's just throw him in, but he's that good. Like, there are freshmen that are going to make significant contributions on top 10 programs all over the country and playoff and national title contenders. And this is the type player that would be one of them. And look, man, he's up there with anybody in this class, right, in terms of ranking, in terms of how many schools desperately wanted him, in terms of he could have, literally gone wherever he wanted. So you put him on I would say it's a short list. There's like about 8 guys in this class that, I know there's 5 or 6 5-stars, but there's 8 or 9 guys in this class that, Jaquan Snell has 4 stars beside his name, right? But he could have done the same thing, gone anywhere. So that list of those type of dudes in this class is like 9, 10 deep, and Henderson's one of them. But what makes him even so much more important to me is just it's the need for impact at that position. And they could also get it from Whiteside, who's ranked much less. They can get 2 guys of that impact. You just never know. But you feel really confident when it's a guy like Caden Henderson. So, the need for impact, which he is going to bring. But then you combine that with, A&M's recent history. I mentioned Edge. They have not recruited enough of this type at linebacker. And since they've been in the SEC, and even under Elko, which is a short window. So hopefully this is going to become the norm. But if you look since they joined the SEC, that's 3 different coaches, and you can say, man, they've done it at quarterback. You look at the 5-stars under Sumlin. They've done it at receiver. They're doing it right now at receiver. They've done it at safety. They're doing it right now at safety. You think of guys, when they went and got under Jimbo too. You look at O-line, D-line, defensive end. There's the Myles Garrett. There's the Christian Kirk. There's not a million, but there's a lot of high-level recruits. The D-line class of 22, people don't want to talk about it anymore, but it produced, 2 first-round picks and several other draft picks, just that D-line group. So you can go up and down, and it's every single position. Tight end, you had Cup and Weidemeyer, every single position except linebacker. And again, this Elko's early on in this, and I think what we can see is he's going to continue to recruit like that at every position, including linebacker. But it had to start somewhere, and there's no better way to start. And if you think about the recent history, not recent, but even since I've been covering this, names like Corey Nelson, I mentioned Alabama. Christian Harris was a longtime A&M commit. Don't forget that. And he ended up at Bama. I think that was Elko recruited him. So he Corey Nelson, OU, Christian Harris, Bama, Harold Perkins, LSU, Ant Hill, Texas. There's been a frustrating run at that position, and so Elko has changed a lot since he's been here. And he said, that's their intention, is to change a lot of the negative history. Not to say that all the history was negative. That's not what he's saying, but he's saying what has been negative. We like changing that. And one of those things is that linebacker position. And I don't think he's looking back to Corey Nelson or even Ant Hill, which he was here during that. I think he's just point blank saying we need an impact player at linebacker. And guess what? You got one yesterday, and you got arguably the best one in the country in doing so.
As expected, Billy, on cue, the questions are coming. Why will this class be different than 22? And there's a lot of obvious answers to that. You got a different man in charge. It's a kind of a different streamlined operation. But if you can give us a couple thoughts on why you think this class, has a different trajectory than what we saw in the past.
Yeah, and I think first and foremost, anybody that says that, you're either a Texas fan or someone else around, the SEC, and you're showing ignorance, okay? You're showing complete ignorance when it's a different head coach. The program is winning now. And then, again, like what people try to do now is they try to do this thing about, it's NIL. But it's the stupidest argument to make, because whoever you're a fan of, I got news for you. Your team's doing it too. Like, literally, your team's doing it too. Notre Dame was doing it. LSU was doing it. Everyone else that recruited Cade was doing it. So it's the silliest argument or talking point to have. And then as far as going back to A&M and a failed class under a different coaching staff, and quite frankly, too, a different era of college football. At the beginning of this era, so much has changed. It's just ignorant, or it's just purposefully rage baiting. So it's a combination of both. But as far as from where I sit, what looks different, 2 things. Number one, look, we know that A&M was taking some players in that class at that time, and they kind of were in a position where, hey, Jimbo said, let's go. Let's take these guys. We got momentum. I think he underestimated the lack of culture in that building at that time to handle additions of guys with some known baggage. And it doesn't mean you can never take a player with baggage. It doesn't mean Mike Elko will never do it. But at that time, you saw guys like Denver Harris and Chris Marshall, and it was well known. Like, that's part of how you got them. Is there were some other schools that said, "Not us, not right now." You add a few of those. Walter Nolan was a tough one. He's gone on and got it right, unlike those other two. Walter's a first-round pick over there with Arizona, but you took enough of those that it was going to be rough. But my biggest thing about that class, honestly, it was just a very unbalanced class. I forget, there was another one, the linebacker from, what's his name? Linebacker from the Woodlands. Like, you took some guys that were like, okay, some red flags here.
Martrell Harris.
How it works out. Yeah, Martrell Harris. But you see how it worked out, But the risk at the time seemed like the program was going in a direction you could overcome it, but they weren't able to. But my biggest thing is the balance. I mean, there were, was there 8 defensive linemen in one class? And it's great because you look at them, how many of them weren't good? The majority of that class was not only good, but great. Shamar Stewart's a first-rounder, Walter Nolan, L.T. Overton, Anthony Lucas, just going on and on. There were some outstanding players in that class, but you take that many at once, and it left you light in some other spots, unfortunately. And that was, 8 is just too many at a position ever. Maybe if you go 6 on a D line or an O line when you're super desperate, but I thought the balance was off in that class. So when you lose, when a Martrell Harris or an Ish Harris don't work out early on, then you've got a gaping hole at linebacker. And I think that happened at a few spots there. And, you look at receiver, another one. These are all different issues, some, more significant than others, but at receiver, your great players were Chris Marshall and Evan Stewart. And so you just I thought there was some setup there for that. You don't see that in this class. And what you do see is a hell of a lot of balance. Take, for example, just the defensive class. You've got elite 5-star pass rusher. You've got an elite borderline 5-star D tackle. You've got elite 5-star linebacker. You've got really 2 of those types at safety. You've got one of them at corner. And then you've got a bunch of other guys, obviously, that they really like. You look at, there's a couple other DBs in the class. There's several really promising defensive linemen, and then you've now got your 2 linebackers here. So think about the balance, but it's also like high-end balance as well. So I think they couldn't be happier, guys, about the class. At the end of the day, and I've heard Mike Elko say this, he said he doesn't care about the number 1 class. He doesn't care about a ranking. Yes, they're chasing, the best players they can get, and they're taking the guys that they think can play. And if you look at it recently, there's Caden Henderson, but you've also added a kicker, you've added a punter, you've added a second linebacker that you really like. While everyone's focused on what's happening with guys like Dobson and Meredith, they went out and added 2 more DBs that I think, they're not near that 5-star range, but they loved them. Same with Whiteside. You take 3 defensive players that aren't sniffing that 5-star status, but they said, no, we think these guys can play. We're taking them, and we're taking them right now, even with all this momentum.
Billy, recruiting in general for Texas A&M, we've got volleyball on a heater, baseball just added Wade Cooper. It's been a great run.
Yeah, no, fun, and even with what volleyball's doing, that was exciting news yesterday that Kay had with Jamie Morrison and what they were able to add in the 2028 class. So, really, to me, it's just a fun. Yesterday was fun covering Aggie sports or Aggie recruiting in particular, and I don't suspect volleyball's got a limit. They can't. They're not recruiting like the numbers that football or even baseball is. But I expect that baseball one to continue here in the next few days in terms of just Early and company quietly have gotten it. I think they've got some nice momentum going right now in terms of identifying guys they want and getting them.
Billy, I appreciate the early call, man. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy.
See you, bud.
All right, Zipper.
See you later, Bill. Have fun.
No goodbye.
He hung up.
He just hung up.
Hey,
by the way,
he'll do that to me sometimes when he just calls me. I'm hanging out on the couch, and he'll be like, and I'll be talking to him like mid-sentence, and I'll just like wait for a response, look down at my phone. It's like, oh, he hung up definitely 30 seconds ago.
People do that in movies where they don't say goodbye.
He does that.
Yeah,
he Irish goodbyes the phone calls. It's crazy.
By the way, when I said AK, I meant Antanas Kavalauskas. He's the house guest.
Oh,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, well, your connection to AK would have been through Logan Lee, the Goon.
I covered him in 2004? Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, thanks for making me feel older.
Not as long ago. Well, 2004 would have been when Pat Henry arrived. That was before Reese Nygren was born.
Props to Billy, by the way. I thought that could have been a 39-minute first segment.
Oh, and it easily could have been, because I looked over at you during that last answer. It's like, I still have questions to ask. Right?
I did too. But
we woke up on June 1, and A&M didn't have a linebacker committed. Now they've got 2. What are his thoughts on the linebacker haul? Is he happy with it? Do they need to add more? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not Ryan Brauninger. Where do they go from here? Right? We woke up to begin the month, and linebacker, running back were the 2 positions we felt like they needed to address. They've done linebacker. What's next? At ball carrier, stuff like that. And then, just so many more things you get Billy out on a tangent on.
Yep.
Want him to regale everybody about his elite Sporkle showing yesterday.
By the way, this is TexAgs Live, presented by David Garner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations, currently hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us up on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline, 979-693-1150, or you can text us on the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line, 979-693-1150. Good?
Elite performance.
Thank you.
Elite performance. I knew all of those. You don't have me trained up like Olin, but I did know all of those.
Oh,
and it was just amazing to watch the master go through it.
Well, I feel like since we're already, Louie's right now just upset listening to the show. Like, come on, hit a break already. So we'll say hi to Reese and to Nick on the other side. Sound good?
Perfect.
And I want to talk a little World Cup, but with a football twist. It's a great song. I know we'll lose some people, but we'll gain some people because we're an international show now. You can watch us in Oregon and in Frankfurt, Germany. All right, 1775. I don't know how I'm going to get into this one. So
I'll tell you this.
Okay.
The recruiting staff, Mike Elko, Derek Miller, linebacker coach Travis Williams, whoever else helped out on the Caden Henderson commitment, go reward yourself.
Yes.
Drive out a little bit towards Snook and just get whatever you want. The entire thing. Olin Buchanan's paying for it all.
He probably would.
Just enjoy it. He might be there.
He might join
be
you.
there. And in which case, you might want to go somewhere else. But stay at 1775. It's worth it.
I would like to see, those videos of people stopping at Buc-ee's from wherever, Italy. Like, Italy didn't make the World Cup. From Germany. Hey, I love this place. Give them a Spanish accent from Germany.
I've got a friend from Canada who's got another friend from study abroad. He's coming from Sweden. And I think the Swedes play in Houston tomorrow.
Yep.
I made sure to tell him where the big Buc-ee's was, not the one in Cyprus. Want to get the full Buc-ee's experience if you're coming from overseas.
Well, I hope he gets the 1775 experience.
That brisket sandwich, way better than the one the Beaver will serve you.
No doubt. And by the way, if you eat at NRG, sorry guys, it's super expensive. And when you go to 1775, not so expensive. They're open Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. Call them up, 979-492-6241, or visit 1775txbbq.com. It's 1775.
It's good!
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. Welcome back to TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance
Why do
Studio.
you say that like a question? We are presented by
We are.
I'm Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett.
Let's say hi to people on the show, shall we?
I love saying hi to these people. They're some of my favorite peoples.
Nick Savage behind the glass, who is my dear friend. Hello, Nick. Good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Hey, well, anytime I get a chance to talk about NASCAR on the show, I'm going to take it because this weekend, Haas factory team, they're going to run their A&M scheme. They're actually racing in Coronado, California on a naval base.
So sick.
So they're whipping out the A&M George H.W. Bush Museum scheme, and they put out a video on their Twitter just wrapping the car. Pretty slick looking ride, if I do say so myself. So hopefully, they already got A&M already has the Indy 500 this year to their name. So hopefully they can add another race win.
Do you know who trains in Coronado?
The SEALs.
The Navy SEALs. That's right.
So it's car number 41, and it's wearing the George H.W. Bush livery, huh?
Yeah.
How about that?
I thought it was 41, and a shout out to Dirk too.
Yeah. Well,
you think?
Probably not.
Oh, maybe.
Probably not in the America car on the U.S. Naval Base. Love the big baller from the G. But
who was I arguing with? They were saying that, what's his name? Jokic. It might have been somebody in this office. Jokic was a better international player than Dirk. Sorry, I'm going to have to say no.
Dirk opened that door for a lot of players from Europe.
Or the Dream did. Oh, from Europe, yeah. The international player, Hakeem the Dream.
Hakeem.
Reese Nygren, huge Hakeem fan, even though he didn't watch him play. He's at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
I do like watching Hakeem the Dream highlights now, even though I wasn't able to watch him.
Would you agree he would dominate in today's era?
Yes, I would agree, because the paint protectors now are Rudy Gobert, and I think Hakeem Olajuwon is significantly better than Rudy Gobert.
He'd beat COVID Rudy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Wouldn't even be
super
close.
spreader.
And if he had to learn how to shoot a three, I think he'd be fine.
I think he would excel at shooting the three if he had to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I think he'd get it. Turning over to A&M recruiting, Jamie Morrison tried to recruit Mog by landing the number one prospect in the country per prep dig, Maya Obog, on Thursday. The Allen High School product and front row attacker has recorded 950 kills, 116 blocks, and 427 digs through 2 seasons, standing at 6 foot and possessing a 10-foot and 7.5-inch approach touch. Obog was an AVCA high school first-team All-American and Prep Volleyball's 2025 Player of the Year.
RK Nagley interviewed Maya yesterday. We're going to run that on the show at 10:20.
An Aggie legacy, back-to-back years with the number one overall player in the country. I believe Kay will probably correct me if that's right or wrong. Recruit Mog with Obog. Reese, take a jog. That was tough.
Very good job, Reese.
Yeah, always. Great job, Reese. Claps for you.
Since I teased it, and I don't think there's anybody else I could probably talk about this, are you familiar with Next Round Live? They're showing in the Alabama area. They do a great job. And they did this topic, if college football programs
I saw this. I sent this to Nick. I love the A&M comparison.
It is
because
perfect.
It's the red, white, and blue. We're the most American program in the entire country, if I do say so myself, except maybe Navy and Army.
I would say A&M's been more successful as a college football program than the U.S. men's national team.
We've had flashes in World Cups and also like Gold Cups and in CONCACAF.
But the last real flash, you were a child, right?
Sure. Well, I mean,
Landon Donovan
2010?
years.
I remember that. I remember exactly where I was for that. I was 12.
Okay.
Reese was not yet born.
I can't read. My eyes aren't that good. Italy being Alabama, I disagree.
Which is funny because Italy's not even here.
And Italy's missed, I believe, the last 2 World Cups.
So that's bad. That's a bad comp.
If you want me to read their descriptions, I can.
Sure.
So for A&M, it's obviously the U.S. Peak historic success dates back to the 1930s, possesses unlimited money, talent, and resources, struggles to put it all together.
We did go to the semifinal once in the 1930s. And we haven't stopped talking about it since.
To put it all together, that means a national championship. They've had seasons where they have been worthy of a top 5 finish. Not many.
There have been seasons where A&M could have and probably should have won the national title.
2012?
I don't know if they should have, but they could have.
I think they
right?
could
And
have.
if there was a playoff, they likely might have.
Yeah. What are some other ones?
Let me put it back up here. You said Alabama is Italy, a legendary blue blood that has won championships across multiple generations, including this century.
I would say Alabama would, Italy would be more like USC. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute. That's probably a good comp. Read the Texas England comp, because I saw this, Nick, and I did not agree with the explanation.
It says,
because they kind of lay the blame for why this team hasn't been succeeding at the feet of other people. It's hilarious.
Always burdened with massive media hype, but historically tends to underdeliver when it matters most.
I mean, the underdelivery is true, but the media hype, don't act like it's the media's fault you're not succeeding.
So is Harry Kane Arch Manning in this comparison?
No, I would say Harry Kane.
Do not give me my guy.
I would say Harry Kane would be more comparable to if you're just playing Texas quarterback game. Colt McCoy.
Okay.
He didn't win a national title, but he's an all-time great.
Okay.
I don't know the Texas record book like the back of my hand, but I can only imagine that Colt McCoy is up and down the passing list and the rushing list for quarterbacks and the total touchdowns and all of that. Harry Kane's the all-time leading scorer in England history and also a Spurs legend.
Jude Bellingham cannot be anybody on Texas, so he's been excommunicated from the English national team.
I don't know. So there's a ton of hype around Jude Bellingham as being the next great. Could he potentially be?
No, he's a Real Madrid player, and I don't allow for Texas colors on my guys.
People are turning us off.
All right, give me one. Who's France?
Yeah, no. I think the best one's Texas Tech, equivalent to Saudi Arabia, and it says fueled by an immense amount of oil/NIL money and rapidly buying their way into the national spotlight, a flashy program fully capable of pulling off a massive, shocking upset.
Cody Campbell, I need your response in paragraph in 3-page essay form, please.
Give me LSU, because I think I remember that one disagreeing. I disagreed with that one.
Let's see. Let me find. Oh, there it is. France. Boasts incredible modern success and elite talent pools, but prone to baffling, chaotic down years.
That's not not wrong.
I would say they're more Brazil.
There aren't as many down years, at least not lately for France, especially on the international
scale.
They've
won, 3 World Cups in the last 20 years?
And I think one of the ones they didn't win was because of a headbutt in the final?
Yeah.
Or is that the Euro?
No, that was the World Cup. And also, they came very close to winning the last World Cup against the referees and Messi.
Fair.
Well, at a break. Sorry.
Fair.
There are the 6 people who care are going to email me. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, Scott Livingstone. That was pretty cool news yesterday.
Awesome news. That really kind of kicked off that 12 o'clock to 1:30 window where Texas A&M athletics went a little wild.
Let's talk about the Rollo Insurance Group. They build lasting relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying and the why behind it. They have expertise in just about everything from home to auto to business. You name it. They have specialty coverage, and their independent agents provide options tailored to your specific need. They take time to explain your policy in plain language, making sure that you know everything that you are covered by. Their educational approach empowers you to make informed decisions, and they protect your family, your home, and your business. Many clients discover better protective rates simply by understanding now their options. Check out the difference at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO. All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance. Studio The Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, still hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. Few players in Texas A&M baseball history can match what Scott Livingstone did here in Aggie land, a two-time All-American, Southwest Conference star, Team USA member, second-round MLB pick, an 8-year major leaguer. Scott Livingstone still owns a bunch of records here at Aggie land, and now he's headed to the College Baseball Hall of Fame as part of the 2026 class, and he joins us here on TexAgs Live on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. What's up, buddy? What's up, Scott? Congratulations, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Just dodging storms over here and trying to keep raccoons out of my trash cans. So, just a normal day.
Just normal Hall of Fame things.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so how did you find out? Tell me, when you got the call, what you thought, yada, yada, yada.
So a couple days ago, I got a phone call. I was actually getting ready to do the podcast, and the phone rang, and you get a lot of spam calls like everybody else does, right? So I don't recognize the number, but it says something about baseball office, and I'm like, okay, I don't get that very often. So I picked up the phone. I said hello, and he said, hey, man, this is Mike Fiore, who I knew from the past. He played at Miami. And he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm about to do this podcast. He goes, well, I think I may have some more content for you. And I was like, yeah? He goes, you're going to go into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. And I go, what? I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And so, I got so overwhelmed. I just didn't know what to say. It got so quiet that he actually had to come back and go, hey, you still there? Because it was just very overwhelming, and I don't have a lot of details on everything. That's what's going to happen down the road. But he said, yeah, you're going to get a media blitz at your college, so I apologize for that. I know they sent a bunch of stuff to you guys, and they're going to, put it all out there in some press releases and stuff. But, I was very overwhelmed, very humbled, and, grateful, obviously. But, then I was actually really surprised because then, I asked him about other people, and, I was just real surprised that Mark Johnson hadn't been in, right? And so I started that was like the next thought of my mind was, okay, who else? Because I followed it, I looked at it, but I didn't I'd see it come up on TV and be like, oh yeah, that guy's a good player. He's going in the College Baseball Hall of Fame. That's cool. And then I was thinking, okay, well, Mark Johnson has to already be there. And he said he wasn't. And then I started thinking, well, what about players that have come before me or after me, this and that? And he goes, no, you're the first one. And I'm like, that really surprised me because I feel like there should be more, But I'm very grateful, very honored, and I just want to be a very good representative of Texas A&M for sure.
Well, Scott, my friend, you're a very deserving individual of this honor. Congratulations. You talk about being a trailblazer for Aggies going into the College Baseball Hall of Fame, but in the 80s, before 1989 and the birth of Olsen Magic, you were kind of the trailblazer, laying the groundwork for that team as well, and your numbers from 1985 to 1988 are so impressive. So over the last few days since you've gotten the call, what kind of memories have come flooding back to you? What do you remember about your time at Texas A&M and the success you had playing for Coach Johnson?
Richard, the interesting thing is when I look back, and I think the one reason that I was so overwhelmed was because I started reflection on my journey, right? Because my junior year of high school, I thought I was going to Texas. Once I got that letter, they were the cream of the crop. And I was like, I'm going, that's where I'm going. Thank goodness I made the right decision. Very happy with that. But you don't get to this point by yourself, right? So when you said looking back and what kind of was my memory, it's more of the reflection of the journey of the people that were along for the ride with me and pushed me. And, that's my parents. My brother and sister, my coaches, Mark Johnson, Jim Lawler, Bill Hickey, my teammates. They helped me build all sorts of things, and we built it together. So, you can't do anything with your teammates. Nobody gets here by themselves, like I said. And, the trainers, I'm going to tell you, Radar Ricky, I'm going to go ahead and mention you, and the field crew, everybody that's all involved, and especially the 12th man. As you get older, there's more important things in life than numbers, right? And it's relationships, and it's the people. And it's made me a better person the more that I've gotten involved with, coming to the games and, being around you guys are very gracious to me, and the fans and the 12th man. I mean, I'm a 12th man now. I'm not on the field anymore, and it's awesome. And everybody's won in the stands, and the values that it instilled in me at Texas A&M to become the person that I am, it's just making me better every day. And the people I meet at the ball games, I see them on the concourse, they're just great people. And I mean, it's just crazy. And they're just making me better every day, just the people to be around them at the ballpark.
So, Scott, I'm looking through the list of guys going in with you. I'm just going to read it to you and get some thoughts. Barry Bonds, Jeff Brantley, Dave Clark, Marquise Grissom, Buster Posey, Houston Street, Brent Strom, like some huge names, man. Your name is going to be with them in this class.
Well, I saw Barry Bonds, and the last time I saw Barry Bonds, I was playing first base for San Diego, and we walked him to get to first base, obviously, but we pitched to him and pitched around him, and he comes running down the line, and he looks right at me, and he's like, y'all don't want to pitch to me. Y'all don't want to pitch to me. You ain't going to pitch to me. And I was just like, I was like, okay, yeah, well, you're right. We don't want to pitch to you. So, but it'll be interesting to kind of come back and see some of those guys that I played with and played against. And there's a mutual respect, even though you may not be buddies with them, all the time. You just see them on the field, and there's that mutual respect. And I go back to a lot of my teammates now. We didn't have all the connectivity, if you will, with social media and stuff from my old teammates. Richard had talked about, the 85, 88. We didn't have those connections. And these, the 89 team put together a text thread, so they're able to keep in touch. But it's just like yesterday that you saw those guys, even though it may have been 30 years. And it'll be the same way when I see these guys. Now, I don't know what Barry's going to be like, but we'll see.
Well, in your case, being 90 feet away from a left-handed hitting Barry Bonds, I'm thankful they walked him for your sake. That just can't be a comfortable place to be standing. Scott, one of the things that stuck with me yesterday when I saw you put out that little video from the Ball 5 podcast channels is how you're talking about trying to get more Aggies in the Hall of Fame with you. And it's an awesome honor for you to be the first Aggie to go in, but we got to get you some help. And there's a long list of names, multi-time All-Americans that aren't in yet, that should be in, especially if guys like Buster Posey and Houston Street are going in at their age. So who are you going to be campaigning for and beating the drum to get in, whether it be Coach Johnson or your contemporaries, your fellow players?
Well, I mean, for sure, one of them is going to be Coach Johnson, for sure. That's an easy one, right? And, my big league time was during the 90s, so I didn't follow a lot of the A&M program during the 90s because I was, playing. So I know there's a lot of good players there. So, and in the early 2000s as well. So, when I go back, I always still like John Byington. He's legendary, man. And, you go back to other teammates and stuff about that. And I kind of want to go back to that. It's like, you can't do things without your teammates, right? And you look at Olsen Magic, and I don't know if I'm right, but I think Chuck Knobloch or somebody beat out a double play ball that would have been the third out to allow Byington to come to the plate in those ninth innings. So your teammates help you get to these points. And, but yeah, I'd say Byington and Mark Johnson at this point, and then I'd probably have to do a little more digging and research, but that's a great question.
Scott, great stuff, man. Congratulations. We'll talk to you about the upcoming baseball season here soon because the portal's been hot. But thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Congrats again, my friend.
Thank you, Richard.
College Baseball Hall of Famer, host of the Ball 5 podcast, and our dear friend.
Awesome human being, too. The kind of surreal moment. Scott Livingstone would text me during baseball games, want to know what's going on. Because I used to hear my parents went to school in the 80s, and my dad was a Raggie up in 203, and he would tell me about how Scott Livingstone had the best left-handed swing he'd ever seen in college. So really cool to see Scott get that call, and it's deserved honor.
Yep.
Very, very well-deserved honor.
Let's hit a break here. We'll come back with a very short final segment of the Go Hour. Right now, Milliken Reserve, they're a farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms. They've got wide-open spaces, and they want to build a healthy community around nature. They're committed to treading lightly on the land that you can find Milliken Reserve on. They've created a sanctuary for family, for nature, and for community. When you're with your family, go outdoors. Don't be indoors unless there's a thunderstorm. Go throw the ball. Go fly a kite. Climb a tree. Kick a ball. Whatever you like to do outdoors, go do it and check it out at Milliken Reserve, where you can do many, many activities like hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmer markets, and farm tours. To learn more about it, go to millikenreserve.com. That website again, millikenreserve.com. Look, Reese has been complaining about the chat. People are just over there just saying hi. Like, people are not participating in the show.
Here goes Reese again, campaigning to be another chat leader on another show.
Double Agent Reese.
Yeah,
when did I ever say I wanted to be the chat leader of TexAgs
He's
Live?
the supreme leader of the People's Republic of the Chat on the B team.
Actually, Kayla Gaither and I are co-chat leaders.
Oh, so Kayla's also a double agent. Okay. See, Richard's the one that I don't think is a double agent. I think Richard, like...
He's the one that's on the show all the time.
I'm the most wholesome individual. I'm also extremely humble. What can I say? The humblest.
I heard that on the B team.
Yeah, well.
The record-setting B team?
The record-setting B team that had 67 viewers.
Bank on it, presented by Vera Bank. Honest questions. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. Banking on Ronaldo having a better game. You can't have a worse game.
Sure.
And the U.S. men's national team getting it done, even with or without Pulisic. Richard.
I'll bank on that as well. And also, there's 2 silent commitments out there. One for Texas A&M baseball and one for Aggie volleyball. I'm going to bank on learning those names some point this weekend.
TexAgs. We know things. We'll be back. It's TexAgs Live. All right, we're back. TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Bucky's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our buddy J.D. PicKell from On3 joins us to talk college football and, of course, an A&M angle to it. J.D., what's up, man?
David, good to hear from you, man.
How are you?
Did you also commit to Texas A&M? Because I know it's kind of like in vogue right now with that number one class all putting together.
Well, I saw that you're fighting the good fight. Somebody the other day tweeted at you, may have been yesterday, like, yo, what are they going to do with them? They don't develop anybody. And you're like, hold up, home slice. They sent 10 guys to the NFL last year.
It's so funny because last night I was talking about that same thing with my brother-in-law who went to A&M, and it's just like I get why you go to that comeback if you don't like A&M. And this is coming from someone who has no dog in the fight. Like, I didn't go to A&M. I have friends who went to A&M. I have friends who went to Texas. Heck, my wife went to Baylor. I have no like rooting interest here, to be clear. But like the 2022 recruiting class thing, while again I get where it comes from, it's sort of a dumb thing to say because it's literally different people in the building. Like to say that they're not going to do anything with the talent they recruit. It's like, yeah, maybe that was true of the previous class or the previous regime, but that's not what's going on now in College Station. Other part of this, if you go back and look at that 2022 class, like there were a lot of really freaking good players. Like, it wasn't like A&M just screwed up on the evals and, oh gosh, Walter Nolan wasn't any good, or, oh man, Evan Stewart wasn't any good. They didn't utilize them properly. That's 100% true. But to act like A&M somehow wasn't still recruiting good players is also just like a misguided assessment. So again, I get why you say it. It's probably the same comeback I would have too if I were, on the other side of the fence rooting against A&M. But when you really look at the whole picture and all the facts, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
JD, when I think about Texas A&M, and this is not just an A&M thing, but when you have resources and the ability to bring people, eventually it's going to work out. When Texas was having their rough years, we knew it was a matter of time before they figured it out. When the Boston Celtics were having some lean years, we knew it was a matter of time before they figured it out. The San Antonio Spurs, yes, they get lucky with the lottery, but eventually they figure it out when you have the resources and you put the right people in the building. And to use past examples against A&M, while it's an easy, like, lowbrow thing to do, it does avoid the fact that we're going to keep coming, right? Like, A&M, regardless, is inevitable. They're going to get it figured out, and it feels like they figured it out.
Inputs will always equal outputs. It may not be 100% one-to-one correlation of what you just said of, we do the right things every year, the ball is going to bounce our way. Like, you still have to have the right staff, you still have to have the right culture. There's a lot of like little variables that make up the margins that make up to, the big outputs. But what you just said, you have the right resources, you have people that care, you have the right administration, eventually you put enough shots up, like you're going to have a couple of those go in. The other thing too, like, this is not to excuse A&M and the way they were squandering some of those inputs they had in the previous years, but like, I am sometimes amazed at how quickly we forget how hard it is to win the modern college football. Like, this is really hard. It's really hard, especially at the highest level in the SEC and in the Big Ten. Like, I see Oregon's a great example. I see people dunking on Dan Lanning every other year because they get blown out in the playoff, and they show up in a couple of these playoff games and not just play poorly, like what I just said, that they just look like they're absent. And while that's not okay, the narrative you then run with is, well, Oregon must not be any good at the high. Oregon's never going to win the big game. Oregon's never going to. And I'm like, yeah, that they haven't yet. But to say they're never going to do that just because they haven't done it yet feels like a little bit of a clickbaity take. And also, it's really hard to win a national. Like, only one team every year wins a national championship. So if that is your measuring stick for success, then by definition, 137 teams won't be that good, and one will be the best thing on the face of the planet. So, yeah, the A&M thing about inputs and outputs, it's just, again, get where it comes from. I understand why people on the other side of the fence would make that take, but it doesn't really add up when you actually take a level-headed approach to it.
JD, before you got in your current role, did you have a opinion of Texas A&M that maybe has evolved since you have more access to the people and have more information in front of you?
It's a great question. The honest answer is not really, because I kind of sided with what you just said a second ago. It always felt like a matter of time for A&M of they will eventually get it together. I think what I thought about Jimbo Fisher, not to dunk on Jimbo Fisher here, but what I thought about him as things progressed in College Station kind of was the opinion I maintained once I got to do this for a living. The fun part about seeing where A&M is right now is seeing someone like Mike Elko in the driver's seat. Like, Jimbo Fisher was fired one of my first years getting to On3. So seeing them have somebody, building it the right way, evaluating the right way, and putting the right culture in place, that was something I got to see a little bit more I want to say up close because I'm not in the building in College Station or covering it nearly at the granular level like y'all do at such a high level with TexAgs, but being able to cover it, with the 8 hours in my day, that's been a lot more of my role since getting to On3. So the answer to your question, kind of boring but kind of simple is not really, David.
JD, for A&M this season, and look, we have all of SEC Media Days to kind of revisit some of these topics, but to me, there's a couple simple things that'll determine what kind of year it is. But something I learned yesterday that I should have known, but I just didn't think about. Matt Moscona was on the show, and he was like, Ole Miss only had 2 returning players on their team, and they went to the semifinals, right? So we used to put such a premium on returning players, and while that is important, no doubt, it's about getting the right transfers. So when you look at A&M and what they did in the portal, and what they have at quarterback, what's the best case, worst case scenario considering that schedule as well?
I think best case is A&M's back in the playoff. I was looking at the schedule last night. I think 11-1 would be a bit rich, but if we're talking about best case scenario, let's go ahead and throw that out there. I think worst case scenario is what you just said. The offensive line portal additions don't work out the way you need them to. Maybe Marcel doesn't take that next step. And the offensive play calling isn't as elite as it was a year ago, and things just kind of break a certain way, and A&M maybe ends up in like that 8-9 win range. Without calling our shot today, if I had to, I'd probably go 10 wins for A&M and put them back in the playoff. Like, the schedule itself feels workable enough, and also too, there's just like, you look up and down the schedule, it's really going to come down to those last 2 weeks, in my opinion. Like Oklahoma and Texas, in my estimation, are going to be the most put together products going to play. I also love the fact that they get to go to LSU after LSU plays Ole Miss. I've said this for both sides of that game. Ole Miss plays Florida the week after LSU. LSU obviously plays A&M, like I just said. That's going to be a really drained outfit, you would think, emotionally. That's not to say I'm picking A&M outright right now because obviously we're talking about a game in September and it's June, but I think whether you win or lose that game, you will have exhausted yourself at a pretty intense level emotionally. And so to have to get A&M coming around the corner for you, that's life in the SEC, and that's really tough to do with a group of 40 transfers. So to go back to your question, again, I think 10 wins is super easy.
Talking to JD PicKell here on TexAgs Live. JD, I don't know if I lost you, but follow-up question. Do you think in the SEC, more than other conferences, but in the SEC, 9 wins in this era or this 9-game SEC schedule is equivalent to what 10 used to be, and 8 wins is equivalent to what 9 used to be in today's SEC with the 9-game schedule?
In regards to the rest of college football or to the SEC itself?
Just how we look at success. Are we going to reassess what 8 wins feels like moving forward and what 9 wins looks like?
I don't think so, just because that playoff bar is probably going to be, whether it's right or wrong, the filter we're looking at it through. So I think it'll still be about the playoff as opposed to how many games did you win. Now, I do think I think 9's always going to feel better than 8, and I think 8 will always feel better than 7. But I do think it'll come back to where you finish in the rankings, who did you beat to get to that, win total that you had, and, did you make the playoff? And I'll say this, too, before we wrap it. I'm sure we're up against it, but I do still believe that 10 wins is going to be a threshold to get into the playoff. I know 9 is kind of the trendy thing to talk about right now, but Vanderbilt got left out with 10 wins last year. Notre Dame left out with 10 wins last year. I know that'll change. BYU with there's so much there, and there's so much across the board that's going to make it, I think, difficult to make the playoff with less than 10 wins. I think 10 is still that number. So I think the playoff is probably still that metric we all look at to be successful.
And then for A&M to be that successful, I know you mentioned the offensive line, but do you want to see Marcel take a step or maybe not take too many steps, if you know what I mean? The happy feet sometimes led to some interceptions.
I mean, it's what you said. He's got to take that next step. And I know that's complete off-season talk, and I know the next thing that someone in the football world is asking is, okay, what does that next step look like? I would love to see Marcel Reed be the guy that says, get on my back, we're winning this game. Not to say that he didn't have games that were in that genre a year ago. The LSU game, he was awesome. in terms of like what in that second half and what he was on the ground. But I want to see them go to Norman that second to last week of the season and have it be two teams that are fighting for playoff contention and Marcel Reed be the difference. Or the game against Texas to finish the year and have Marcel Reed be the difference. So to me, like to sum it up for Marcel Reed, it's got to be he is the difference. He's a steady force. He's the veteran presence. All cliche things, but David, you and I know oftentimes things are cliche because they're true. So that's what I want to see from Marcel Reed.
Talking to JD PicKell here on TexAgs Live. All right, JD, I think somebody on our chat said that you have Texas winning it or winning the SEC and maybe winning it all. Why is that the case?
So that's we actually had someone on the show, a good friend of mine, and I know this phenomenal work for y'all as well, Connor O'Gara from the OG Kickoff from Next Round Live. He has Texas winning the SEC, and we had him on the show to break down his playoff bracket. So I always respect and appreciate Connor for being one of the first ones to jump in the season prediction pool in our industry, and so we had him on to break it down. Man, if I had to lean a certain way right now, I'd probably lean Georgia to win the SEC, and that's sort of boring. But the reality is, like, if it ain't broke, it's hard to ask for it to be fixed. And I see a Georgia team that brings a lot back with, a chip on their shoulder for losing another playoff game last year and trusting on it. Like, there's so much there for me with Georgia. It's tough to doubt it right now. But again, it's going to be an absolute, I think, just Hunger Games to see who gets in the playoff out of the SEC. And right now, I'd have A&M being one of those teams. So to circle back on Texas, like Texas, I still want to see more from Arch Manning. And I know it's not unpopular to say, but I think that it is fair to be at the 4-date stage with Arch Manning. And maybe you could attest to this, David. Like at 4 dates, you are into the person, you like what the person brings to the table, you guys get along. You're past the point of attraction and compatibility, but it's not you're dropping to a knee and can we build a life together. It's not till death do us part. That's kind of where I'm at. Arch. I think he's great. I'm a fan of what he does and the way he finished the year. The mental toughness thing to me is as impressive as anything else, getting up off the ropes with all that was said about him last year. But I'm not ready to just commit and say this guy's going to be the next great Manning, so it works. So that's kind of where I'm at on Texas.
JD, how close do you think the top of the SEC is to the top of the Big Ten in 2026?
I think it is a deeper top. I think there's probably anywhere from 4 to 5 teams top of the SEC that could make some noise in the Big Ten. I think the top of the Big Ten is the best in college football right now. That's your Ohio State and your Oregon. And then if you wanted to throw in Indiana, based on your belief in Signetti, I wouldn't fault you for that. I just think it is, as much as anything, it is a roster thing, sure. I don't really know if that's the biggest differentiator as much as people want to make it sound like it is. To me, the thing with the Big Ten is I think there's better coaching across the board there right now. And I look at Lanning, I look at Ryan Day. I see a guy in Ryan Day who, let's call a spade here. If he wins one more natty, he is the best coach in college football, I think. If Dan Lanning gets one, I don't think anyone would be all that surprised. So it's the combination of really good rosters, but I just think their coaching is superior right now and puts pressure on the SEC to respond. And I think it's a big reason why if you're an A&M fan, you feel pretty good about where you sit with Mike Elko. So that's kind of where I fall in it. Deeper top for the SEC, but the top for the Big Ten, I think, is still superior right now.
It'd be interesting if I would have chatted with you, I don't know, every other day during this whole Sorsby thing. But now that Brendan Sorsby is going to enter the supplemental draft, Texas Tech had their press conference, their 20-minute podcast, their statements, and Cody Campbell, excuse me. Cody Campbell, I don't know why I called him Corey. Cody Campbell is trying to get involved with the Protect College Sports Act and tweeting at Sankey. Just when you look at the mess that Texas Tech has been through, and then, the Sark thing over the last month as well, how do you kind of assess the entire Texas Tech situation?
It's tough for me because I really like Joey McGuire. I think Joey McGuire is as real as it gets when it comes to being a head coach in the sport. I think he's about the right things. I think everything he said from playing Texas to standing by Brendan Sorsby as a human being has been real. I don't think it's just because the guy was a really good quarterback, they stood by him. But when you go back to the Sorsby thing here really quick, the tough part about that is he showed up in Lubbock's, 6 months ago, give or take. The gambling thing with him predates showing up in Lubbock. Now, did he keep gambling once he got to Texas Tech? sounds like that was the case, but like he was gambling on games and he was, a redshirt freshman at Indiana. Like this guy clearly had a gambling addiction. And so while maybe Texas Tech at a PR level probably learned a thing or two about how to handle this, it wasn't like Texas Tech, brought this upon themselves because they had this quarterback that was an intense gambler and they knew about it and brought him in. And the thing that kind of I roll my eyes at here, David, is the take that, well, Texas Tech should have done a background check on Brendan. Well, Texas Tech should have known. And it's like, yeah, that's a very idealistic way to look at it. And like, well, I don't disagree that there should be some background checks done on the guy you bring in and pay $5 million to. Like, let's not forget, Texas Tech won this recruitment over a lot of other schools that would have been happy to have Brendan Scoresby in the boat. So if Texas Tech was supposed to know, I think a lot of other schools were supposed to know too. And I'll say this too, like, I think Cincinnati is as guilty as anybody in this whole thing. Like I saw that report, from Scoresby's agent yesterday, and say Cincinnati more or less had wind of this. There's I think a report by USA Today when this whole thing broke originally too, that Cincinnati was alerted in August of last year about Scoresby potentially gambling on games. Like, this is not to throw mud at Cincinnati, but if we're going to talk about Texas Tech and their responsibility, Cincinnati should be responsible for this just as much as anyone else too. So probably poor PR management in an unprecedented situation, but I still have a lot of belief in Joey McGuire being about the right things, and I still have a lot of belief in how good Texas Tech's going to be this year.
JD, last thing for you. Anything going to come out of this Protect College Sports Act? I know that the Big Ten and the SEC had their statement. They've said what they would like to see revisions-wise. It looks like they're going to make some revisions. I don't know. That's what I'm reading at least. How's this going to play out?
David, we're in trust tree right now. Can I just be super honest with you about all this? Like, whenever we get headlines like that, I'm fortunate enough to share an office with Pete Nakos, who does a phenomenal job at On3 for us. I walk over to his desk and I say, Pete, can you break this down for me in simplest terms and tell me if I should care about this? And he usually will give a very concise, he doesn't waste a word. He'll give me a very concise and digestible answer, and then I'll go back to my desk and figure out if I'm going to talk about it or not on the show. So in the month of like March or the month of February, I have more maybe energy to give towards something like this. But when we get to, those months that start with Jay and it warms up a little bit, I'm like, okay, hey, we got A&M playing Arizona State here in week 2. We got to dial up for the actual season that's about to be upon us. So I don't know that I have anything that helpful to say about that, other than I'm excited for college football season to be here so we can stop talking about stuff like that. I'm sure you probably feel the same way.
Here, buddy. Great answer, JD. I appreciate it, brother. You're always great to the show. We'll see you here in Tampa in about a month.
Can't wait, David. See you soon. Hey, send that bicep plan. I'm still waiting on it.
Hey, buddy. I'm looking for some of your plans as well.
Appreciate you, David. Have a great one.
See you, man. JD PicKell here on TexAgs Live. So he dropped the bicep thing on me, and I didn't know what to drop on a guy. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, show me your abs plan. That's just not how I operate. Yeah. Hey, man, show me your traps. Like, biceps, I think, are the one thing that guys can say to another guy that's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I think.
Biceps are fine.
Biceps are fine. Everything else.
Hey, man, look at your quads. What are you looking at my quads for, bro? Like,
whoa.
Can you mention a man's calves? Nick, I need a ruling.
I no. I feel like calves are something you're just born with. If you got small calves, you got small calves.
I agree.
But like, what is an acceptable compliment to? Like, hey, like I think biceps are it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
great head of hair. No, you don't say that.
No, like biceps, triceps, like the.
Hey, dude, your tries, man, look like elevators where they go up and down.
Wow.
What?
I heard Reese asks for squatting plans and stuff like that.
Dude, your glutes are great, bro.
Dude.
You're a glute watcher?
Bro, I'm getting slandered by Bronny during the B team, and now I'm getting slandered by Nick.
I heard that on the B team
during TexAgs Live.
Reese
B team mentioned.
Double agent glute master.
Yeah, I guess.
Up and down, squats.
What?
When it comes to preserving your farm and your ranch's legacy.
Pause.
Why? Why would I pause?
Resume.
Elevators, you don't pause. You want it to go to the next floor. Okay, Reese?
That is true.
If we did Reese Nygren's glute plan as a heritage film, it would probably start off...
You don't want that.
Okay, you're right. Let's just do a real heritage film.
Yeah.
Think about somebody important. Okay, Scott Livingstone. He could probably get his own documentary on ESPN because he's famous and he's great and he played in the big leagues and now he's got a college baseball Hall of Famer. So he probably wouldn't need for Heritage Films to do it. But let's say Scott's brother, we're going to call him Renard, okay? I don't know if it was his brother's name. I just made one up. He's got a story. His dad's got a story. His mom's got a story.
What is Renard? What kind of name is Renard?
I was thinking of a name that would be different that probably wasn't in his family.
Renard?
I think they should do the Heritage film on Renard.
Really close.
He's got a great story. Is his adopted brother Renard? Okay? I don't know. You guys are terrible. YourHeritageFilm.com. YourHeritageFilm.com. Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. Nick, who's that in the background?
Is this Tribe Called Quest again?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Check the rhyme, shall we? By the way, I went to the Google machine. Renard is a real name. It's not a fake name. It's a real name.
It's not American.
It's French. What name is American? David is an American. Reese is an American. Actually, I have no idea if it is.
I don't know either. I mean, like Joe.
Nick, the fact that you don't have French friends bothers me. Renard is a very French name.
I like to keep my circle Texan. Thank you.
And apparently I had Janet Jackson had the wardrobe malfunction. On this show, I've had several verbal malfunctions. Apparently something I said in the first segment, too, that you guys all got a kick out of.
Yeah, you like to fly.
You guys can all go fly a kite, okay? That's all I got to say. Okay. Reese, I got a couple of things we can talk about here, but did you have something you want to start off there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center?
I did want to get to this question from Ross from east of East Texas. He said, doing my part to contribute to the text chat, how did y'all get Billy up at 8 a.m.? Also, y'all the best.
You're the real MVP. So here's how it happened, okay? Yesterday during the B team.
The program?
The B team. I was listening. Great show, by the way. They played Sporkle yesterday. I learned a couple things. Some things, those kind of games on the air, I wouldn't be good at. I think I'd be better off air, because on air I'm like thinking about multiple things. I'm not like, that's why I'll sometimes ask something Billy just answered, because he gives me a 9-minute answer, and I'm like, did he answer what the original question? No, he answered 5 other questions that I was about to get to, so I need to re-ask. But he basically told Richard on the B team that he was going to do a phoner today. So I texted Billy, hey, thanks for telling Richard. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is what's open. How does 8 a.m. sound? Because if not, Pat Henry's getting 10:30 because that's what he requested. Yep. And there were some other things that could have moved around. And there you go. That's how we ended up with Billy at 8 a.m. There was somebody who came after our boy JD. I like JD.
I like JD too.
What did they say?
CV Callahan said...
CV is a good listener. I like CV.
JD resembles an old quarterback flop from the town west of College Station. I don't like him. Get off my lawn, JD.
He's been very positive about A&M. He's a very nice guy. So I actually like JD PicKell. All right, guys. Let's talk Pat Henry for a second. He's going to be on the show in about an hour. And first off, I have a great relationship with Pat. Pat's always been very gracious with me, very kind. I love our dialogue because, as you guys probably know, when he's on the show, I'm actually getting fitness advice without him knowing. I weave it into the interview, like, all right, so if someone's zone 2 is at this, what do they need to... And he's like, why? My runners, like, they're much faster than zone 2 runners. What are you talking about? But, like, I interweave some of my own personal... But
do you ask him for his bicep routine?
No, but you can ask him about the glutes. Glute Master Reese.
I'd rather not.
There's the Jedi Master. There's the Glute Master.
Can I not get that nickname? Can I veto that?
Fine, Renard. Anyway, when it comes to Pat Henry, he is undoubtedly the most successful coach in A&M sports history.
Agree.
And the thing that I hope that I know we will later, but I hope we recognize right now, this dude was the best of the best at the end. Mm-hmm. I know 2026 did not finish the way they wanted. They won a freaking national championship in 2025. Okay? It took him 4 years to win his first national championship at Texas A&M. He won national championships everywhere. He went from LSU to A&M and dominated. Blinn, everywhere he went, this guy dominated, but he wanted to come to Texas A&M, right? And I was listening to the press conference. I would probably not canceled my very expensive World Cup tickets to go to the press conference. I just wish I would have known. I could have maybe had a different plan. That being said, this dude, Bill Byrne went to see, Bill Byrne, the old AD, went to go visit him in Baton Rouge and sold him on the vision of Texas A&M, right? And I think Dr. John Thornton was the other name he mentioned that went to his house.
So there's some big names.
And, he had to convince his wife, Gail, to is this the plan? And they were all for it because from afar, Coach Henry looked at A&M as a place that he'd like to go to from wherever all his other stops, right? and he comes from a family full of coaches. That dude, without a doubt, is like just what does he say? Don't waste a moment or don't waste a day. I forget what his actual daily slogan is to his team, but
Don't let the day get away.
Thank you. Don't let the day get away. And that is such a great motto for all of us. No matter what you're, as a dad, as a coach, as a finance guy, like whatever it may be, don't let the day get, because a lot of times we just kind of get, our life gets cluttered and the day gets away. Coach Henry didn't let the day get away. He didn't let a season go away, get away. So looking forward to not our final interview, but our final interview as, the head coach of Texas A&M track and field. He's still going to be heavily involved, and he'll be on this show all the time as well. We'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, Jordan Pugh, our dear friend, talking some Aggie football. It's that time of year. We can start previewing like for reals. Moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. If you're in the area and you're looking for a new vehicle, that's the place you need to go for your search. You owe it to yourself to check out the great selection at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Stocked up and ready to deal on everything on their lot. You can come pick up their awesome trucks, their SUVs, you name it, they got it. And they're locally owned. They have an Aggie alumni team that knows how to take care of their great customers. And every vehicle comes with that free oil change for life. That's where the real value happens. It keeps paying you back year after year. Stop settling for big city prices and high-pressure tactics. Come see the difference a hometown dealer can make. The lot is full, the team is ready, and they're eager to help get your business. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. You know, we like to keep it real here on the show. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Keeping it real with Jordan Pugh on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. It's been a minute. What's up, Jordan? How you doing, buddy?
Man, what's going on? What's going on? How you living down there?
It's almost time, man. It's almost time for our weekly hits and our breakdowns. How are you feeling about A&M today?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. You know, I happened to turn on YouTube yesterday, and I see that we got another 5-star. You know, I haven't had a chance to look them over yet, but I see we killing it in the recruiting game, man. So I'm good. You know, Elko's at the helm. You know, you have all the just anticipation for the season, man. You got all the belief in him for what he's building as far as a foundational piece with the program. So, man, everything is good. Everything is smooth right now.
In your opinion, why should we believe? And I think the answer is easy, but I'd just love to get your take. Why should we believe this is a different era of A&M sports where you can get top recruiting classes and it's going to pay off in a bigger way than maybe what we saw 5 years ago?
Repeat that one more time. You cut out there for a second.
Yeah, this new era of A&M football with Coach Elko, the ability to get hopefully a top 2, 3 class, whatever it ends up being, top 1. Why is it going to be different than years past?
Because he's laid a foundation and he's getting the right type of kid in here, I think. The stars and all that are cool. And, you know, football guys, coaches know that doesn't really mean a whole lot, but you're looking at the foundation of what he's building. You're looking at the type of people that he's bringing in. You're looking at the type of mental, aspect that meets his standards for players, man. That's what you believe. And then you look at the previous history. You look at what he's done the first 2 years. You look at how he's built, how he's got this program steering in the right direction based on the results on the football field, how we improve from year 1 to year 2. You add in the pieces, man, from the recruiting side in order to get that depth and create that pipeline of players, man. All the stuff that he's done, the foundation that he's tried to lay, the blueprint that he wants to imprint, man, in the program, you see it happening in real time, and that's where the confidence comes from. So, man, I just think everything that he is trying to get done, the way the players have bought in, that's been the key to everything so far.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. Jordan, what about A&M ceiling this year, 2026? Is it all dependent on Marcel? Is it dependent on some other areas?
Well, yeah, depending on Marcel, but I think it's dependent on the O-line and D-line right now. I think that's where the biggest questions are, right? So when you look at the O-line, you lost a lot of talent, a lot of guys, man, that could play, that could protect him. And so now you're looking at the offensive line. It's just, what is the chemistry? How do they build that, right? What is that? What is the 5 guys who have the most cohesion, and who is he most comfortable with? So that's the biggest thing there. I think defensive line as well, man. You lost talent, but you got to be able to build that chemistry and cohesion. I think that'll be an easier, gradual process with the defensive line, because you know my stance on defense, man. It's about controlled chaos. And being able to create chaos, you can find those guys, especially with the talent that we brought in. But when you're looking at an offensive standpoint, when you're looking at that O-line, when you're looking at the set of skill players that we have, the backfield that we have, can that O-line gel fast enough, man, in order for us to be productive when it's necessary? So I think that's the biggest key moving forward right now, going into the season, is what does that look like? I think that's, if I'm coaching, that's the biggest concern I have right now.
Jordan, what I've read, I think there was an anonymous SEC coach, or some, that's what it said at least, that we got to see Marcel win the big games. And I'm thinking to myself, I guess we just like to focus on the last 2, and they were the biggest games. I get it, but Marcel's won a lot of big games already, right?
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, all you remember is what you saw last. That's all that was. We went 11-0. Last time I checked, man, we went up to Notre Dame and won that, right? I saw a 30-point comeback last year. You look at the Texas game and the Miami game, that just so happened to be the 2 games where he played the absolute worst of the season, right? But that's progression. You're looking at a guy who was a full-time starter for the first time last year. So you're looking at that, and you need to see the progression moving forward. You need to see more patience within the pocket. You need to see him utilize his legs more. I think offensively, man, where he thrived was in the up-tempo portion of the offense. When we went up-tempo, we went fast. It allowed him to see things quicker because the defense has to be very simple, but it also allowed him to do what he does in his wheelhouse as far as his skill set is concerned. So I think the progression is going to be there. You have another year. You got confidence. We made a hire in-house with the offensive coordinator, so there's familiarity there. I think that's big for him moving forward, but most importantly, it's the confidence. You know what you're capable of. You know that you have your skill guys around you. So I think you're going to see a jump for him this season.
Jordan, I think it was SEC Mike had A&M's wide receiver core as the number 2 in the SEC. Your thoughts on that with Isaiah Horton joining the ranks, Mario Craver another year, ABR another year, Terry Bussey hopefully taking a big step, and Aaron Gregory and the other young freshman?
Who do you have number one?
I think he had Texas.
Figures have to. Okay. Yeah. Receiving core, man, I think that's the strength that we have.
Yeah.
When you look at the playmakers, man, so adding Horton is big, right? You get a big physical receiver, a guy that could be the true number one on the outside. I think that's huge. We already know what Craver can do. The playmaking ability, getting the ball in his hands, that's going to be huge. I think the biggest thing moving forward for the receiver position is you got a guy like Asher Bethel-Roman. I think that's a guy, man, where he can really elevate his game and really be a game changer for us because of the skill set he has. You saw that really start coming into play later on in the year. You say the Missouri game, you say the South Carolina game, you really started to see how they wanted to utilize him. So when you're looking at those three guys alone, I think that's big. The question, too, is how do we use Terry Bussey, right? What is the real position that he plays? How do you utilize his skill set? I think that's going to be key moving forward because that's another X factor in the offense. And then as far as the freshman is concerned with Aaron Gregory, you got a big explosive kid. I saw him on the scene all the time, man, 7-on-7 circuit, man. He's long, he's rangy. His pass catch radius is huge. I think he's going to be a big addition, but he's a freshman. I don't put a whole lot of hope into a freshman, right? Because there's just that transition you have to go through. But from a standpoint as a whole, man, I think we got one of the best units in the SEC just based off returning production, but also what we want to do offensively.
How much of the running back success is contingent on that thing you brought up earlier, the offensive line? Ruben Owens is his team now. Jamario Morrow is his team now. They've taken some not only big steps in their career, but now they're the guys, right? There is no Le'Veon Moss coming back. It's their show.
Yeah, I think the success is predicated off the offensive line. Yes, that's the very common answer, but I think it's predicated off the receiving core and Marcel Reed. That opens up the running game. When you have threats on the outside, it forces you to empty the box. When you empty the box, that's advantageous for us in the run game. Also, when you add a +1 in the running game with Marcel, that opens it up for the running backs. So I think being able to master utilizing Marcel's skill set, but also giving the threats on the outside the ability to make or have the defense be able to adjust to what we do on the outside, it opens up the box for the run game. So our powers, our counters, the RPO looks where we can hand that off. The inside zone game, I think, is going to be big, and I think that's where we're going to have a lot of our leverage within the offensive scheme and system. But the +1 with Marcel is going to be big because now you have to either decide to bring another guy in the box to spy Marcel, or you got to empty the box in order to cover threats on the outside. So I think that's going to open up a lot of the run game for us this season.
Jordan, what about the secondary? It was a nice surprise last year. I don't know if surprise is the right way to phrase it, but they were good. They were really good. They need more interceptions. No Will Lee. You pick up Ricky Gibson. Hopefully he's healthy and contributes the way he did at Tennessee. Julio Humphrey had a nice offseason. What do you think about the secondary?
I think the secondary is I'm kind of torn right now. I need to see more. I know what I'm getting out of Ratcliffe. I think Ratcliffe is one of the best most underrated guys in the country, but one of the best guys in the country. Tyreek Byard, I saw him play at Colorado. He's a hell of a player. He can play. So mixing those two together, but also you have a guy like Dalton Brooks, man. He's explosive. He's got everything that you look for in that safety position. So how do you mix those three together, right? That's the thing. When you look at like Des Riggs, when you look at Humphrey, when you look at Gibson that come in, the only thing that I ask myself is I need to see more production because right now, based off the production, is not where it needs to be. But we're going off previous history. That has nothing to do with going into this year. Gibson excites me for the potential. Gibson, he gives me cause for pause based off the production. I think he was hurt last year, if I'm not mistaken. Missed a lot of time. But you don't see the ball in his hands a lot. Right? That's what you want to see from a secondary standpoint. Des Riggs, I just think he needs more reps, but he needs to take advantage of the reps that he gets. He needs to make more plays. I think a lot of that is predicated off that D-line too, getting the pressure. But from a group standpoint, overall, I think we have a good secondary. In order to make us an elite secondary, I need to see more from the corners. If we can get our corners to step up with another year within the defense, build the chemistry amongst that unit, I think we can have an elite secondary because I trust our safeties. Our safeties are good. Now we just got to add that on the outside element with the corners.
Jordan, do you think in your day, I'm sure somewhere it happened, but I don't think it's as accessible as it is now, some of your teammates or maybe some guys you were playing against were betting on the team that they play on?
I don't want to be naive. I want to say no. I don't think so. Just because we just didn't have the access at the time, right? So I don't want to be naive and say that it never happened, but I also know that just the access wasn't as prevalent, right? Man, when you look at the situation, I know you're talking about, Sorsby at Texas Tech. That's crazy to me. I don't know. Me as a teammate, I don't know if I would want him back as a teammate. How do I know you're not betting, on us? And it's different, and it sounds hypocritical, but it's different if you're playing, linebacker. If you're playing like D-line, for example, you're touching the ball on every single play. You're dictating how the game really goes. So that's kind of hard, man, especially when you break that trust. Also, at the same time, with the access that guys have, man, all the money that's being thrown around, you got to expect kids to be stupid sometimes. Even the kids I coach, I always have my parent meetings, and I tell my parents every time, I said, I expect your kids to be stupid because I expect them to be who they are. Young kids, they need guidance. So for him, man, I thought it was about time that they moved on from him. I don't know how you bring him back into the locker room. I don't know how, as a coaching staff, you trust him moving forward, especially if you're asking him to be the general of the offense, touch the ball every play. But man, that's a weird situation, man. And seeing what the Big 12 was doing, barking up against them, I like that. But then there's a lot more names that could fall too. So I'm kind of interested to see what that fallout is going to be.
Jordan, fantastic stuff as always, man. We'll probably do another preview piece as we get a little bit into camp, but then we'll be doing it weekly during the season.
Hey, let's do it. Hey, I'm gonna try to make my way down there for training camp.
Can you please?
It's just when you're married and got 3 kids, man.
I know. I get it.
But I'm gonna do my best, and when I do, we gotta do it in studio.
Yeah, in studio, and we'll go to lunch. All right.
All right, let's do it.
All right, thank you.
Let's do it.
That's Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. Appreciate his time as always. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short open segment, and then we got a great Father's Day gift gift for the show, right? For the audience, right? We'll do that here in a little bit. All right, here's a question for you. When's the last time your bank actually knew who you were when you walked in? Not like hey, what's your account number? They got to know your name when you go into a bank, right? Now, that's the difference between a community bank and everywhere else. And at Guaranty Bank and Trust, they've been doing relationship-driven banking since 1913. That's over 100 years of giving back to their community and to Texans the right way. And right here in Bryan College Station, you got Brandon Sears. He and his team aren't just employees. They're your neighbors. They coach youth sports. They're at local stores. They're involved in PTA meetings, you name it. This is their town. This is their future, and they want to make sure that your future is taken care of. And community banking means when you need a small business loan, you're talking to someone who understands what it's like to build something here in the Bryan College Station market. They've got 33 great locations in Texas, locally focused and relationship-driven. Visit gnty.com. That's gnty.com. Or go see Brandon and his team at any of their 3 great locations in Bryan College Station. Guaranty Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. 0 sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. All right, who's this?
Kanye West. Yay, sorry.
How did you know?
Because I've heard this song a bazillion times.
It's good. It's a great way to start your morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Good night. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Father's Day coming up on Sunday. I love Father's Day. I don't know if this Father's Day will be different because we'll be out of town. But obviously it's a great day because I don't have to do much.
Yeah.
Right. And I get good food. I get to hang out. But it's a lot of love that day. So this Father's Day will be different. I won't be with my pops, which is probably the first time. Wow. He's going to be 96 next month. But I did see him on Wednesday. Yeah. So Father's Days are always great. Curious what you guys are doing for Father's Day. You going to go visit your pops?
I am going to go visit my dad.
Okay, good.
Going down to LaGrange for the weekend.
Good. Make sure you celebrate with him. Nick? No? Yes? Maybe?
Yeah, gonna go see him tomorrow. Actually, I got some games to call this weekend, but gonna celebrate it tomorrow.
I don't know. Many of you probably don't have your dads, and you'll be thinking of them, praying for you guys. My greatest gift in this world, the greatest gift that God gave me, is being a dad. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. I like doing a talk show; it's great, but it's nothing like being a pops, right? Being a dad is the absolute best. And Nick, I know you're starting to know that vibe, right? You're starting to get there. Freaking twins going to college is weird for me. Like, you met them, they were already kind of old. But, like, when Nick met them, they were like this.
Yep.
When Richard met them, they were definitely like this. And so, Father's Day. This is my way of wasting a segment, but also honoring pops out there because we got a great job. The best job is the mom's job, right? That's the most important job. But a dad's got a huge role in it as well. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we're doing a Father's Day segment, and you're not going to want to miss it. I don't know how I want to phrase it or tease it up. But just know this, we got an Aggie basketball manager and a world champion trainer all on the show here on TexAgs Live. So we'll make the connection on the other side as TexAgs. All right, welcome back, TexAgs Live. We are presented by David, Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Will Seveny has spent 28 seasons with the San Antonio Spurs, has won 5 NBA championships, and worked around some of the greatest players we've ever seen play basketball. His son Liam is entering his 4th year as a student manager for Texas A&M basketball under Bucky McMillan. And obviously, this is Father's Day weekend, so we thought it'd be a great conversation about sports, careers, championships, and the path that got them there. Gentlemen, welcome to TexAgs Live. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So, Will, I guess take us back to the beginning. How did this career path come for you? Like, how did you get into the sports side and the training side?
Well, it's way back in the day. I played sports in high school, had some injuries, and then during the time that I was rehabbing, I enjoyed the training room. Way back in, I got to say, early 90s, after I became an athletic trainer, I met David Craig, who is the longtime trainer for the Indiana Pacers. And I did an internship with him for 2 years, worked at all the high schools in Indianapolis, Butler University. And then when the team was home, I worked with the Pacers. And then when their assistant trainer, Kevin Johnson, got the head trainer's job with the Washington Bullets at the time, I moved on into the assistant trainer's job with the Indiana Pacers. So I was there from 94 through 97, 98, Reggie Miller era with the Pacers. Larry Brown was my head coach for 3 of the years, and Larry Bird, his first year coaching, was my last year with the Pacers. And then the San Antonio job came open. I interviewed, and I was fortunate enough to get that job. And I've been here since 98, 99. So it was a good timing to jump on in with the Spurs.
All right, I got definitely a bunch of follow-ups I want to get to because what an all-star cast you just mentioned there. But Liam, what was your first exposure to your dad's world and like realizing like he's working on Tim Duncan, he's working with Manu, he's working with Tony Parker? Like when did it kind of hit you like your dad's a big deal?
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I'd always go into treatments with him when they'd have off days, and I'm looking at these 7-footers. I'm like, holy cow, these guys are tall. And I'm walking in there, and as I started to get older, I'm like, wow, he's working with all-time greats like Tony, Tim, Manu. So like, just when I realized that, it was just like it put in a whole different perspective of what he does and how successful the team was. And when they started losing, it made me realize how good they actually were.
Yeah, Will, let's talk about some of the names you mentioned there. We'll start off with the Pacers side at least. Working with Larry Bird, working with Larry Brown, and freaking Reggie Miller, who I think is as good as a broadcaster as he is as an NBA Hall of Famer. You were probably there for some of those very special nights.
Yes, I was the one. He always had the assistant trainer at that time tape his ankles as a superstition. Reggie was kind of superstitious, but one of the hardest workers I've been around. And what's wild to me and shows how long I've been in this is some of my young guys who are younger than Liam there think that Reggie Miller is a broadcaster. So I have to tell them that before we were even shooting 3-pointers, this guy was shooting 3-pointers. So it's no, it was that was a good year. We were always up against the Knicks and the Bulls at that time, and they were some good battles. At that time, the East was the stronger conference, and now it's completely shifted. But just watching him, he's a Hall of Famer, and how he went to work every day, just like many of the players that I've worked with. It was fun to be around and to get to know him and to help him be at his best.
Well, I'm going to stick it with you for a second. So, I mean, you've watched MJ play up close. You've watched LeBron play up close. Obviously, all the Spurs play up close. Wemby now, like, what a great front seat you've had. And I know you're in the middle of it and you're working, but also, like, I'm sure at times you look back like, this is what I do.
Yeah, there's only 30 of us. And, I'm fortunate and blessed. And I landed in a great spot with a great organization led by Pop. Every day, though, I go to work, and and what we try to do is we pound the rock, and that's our mantra. We work every day, and you just attack the day that you're in. But there is a spot every single game night when you're walking out of the tunnel, and you see about 18,000 people, and as you're walking onto the floor, you got to pinch yourself. You say, "Well, what am I doing here?" But it's a lot of hard work that goes into it. But at the end of the day, these guys are, they're well known, and now with the social media, but they're just normal people, and I'm blessed to be able to work with them and try to help them be their best. But, yes, every time I walk onto the floor for that one instant, you're like, wow, this is special.
Liam, how did you know you wanted to work in sports?
I've always loved basketball. I've always enjoyed going to the games, watching on TV. And I knew that even though I probably didn't have a good chance of playing outside of high school, that I wanted to keep working in it. And I know how much fun that my dad has, so I know that it can be fun. Like, it's obviously hard work and a lot of time, but I knew it was something I wanted to commit myself to, just to be around basketball every day, be around the guys, the locker room vibe, all of that. So I just knew it was always something I wanted to do from the get-go.
All right, Liam, staying with you, how did you know you wanted to go to A&M? Like, what was it about Texas A&M that attracted you? And then how did you start working with the basketball program?
I actually knew I wanted to come to A&M when my sister-in-law took me to my first football game, college football game ever, which was the Alabama-Texas A&M game where they stormed the field. And I was like, wow, this place is nuts. Like, they love their school. And I knew that I wanted to go here from then. And working here, I sent a bunch of emails out to every sports program, and they were the first ones to get back to me. And I knew that if I put the hard work in, and it was just something I wanted to do, and working in basketball is just so fun. So I knew that, and it's indoors. That's a plus too. So I knew that I wanted to do that for a long time.
Well, you got 5 NBA championships. I assume they give you rings. I believe most teams do that. If you have rings, where do you hide it? And what do you think about those championship years?
Okay, so the first one I gave to my dad as we're going into Father's Day. I mean, everything that he's done for me, that's where that one went. The rest of them are in a safe deposit box. I'd probably wreck them because I'm out in the yard working on trees and everything else. But really, it's the journey. I'll bring them out here and there, but it's the journey of each one of those paths that are the most special, where you remember all the ups and downs, because it's not easy. It's hard, and we just got done with a crushing loss not too long ago, but we did that in 2013 too, and we come back strong in 14. So every one of those are special in the fact of the journey, where who got hurt when, what hard times you had to go to, what losing streaks, and how you just had to come to work every day and keep plowing away. And some of the best memories are with those guys, with both players and staff, where we went through something together. And when you get down to the end and you're successful, there's only one team that's successful, and it's very special. So.
Well, I'm going to make this personal about me. So I believe it was the 2003 Western Conference Finals. I was working for the Dallas Mavericks, and I was already planning to have my ring made. Like, I was just a marketing guy. I was like, I'm going to get a ring this freaking year, because Mark had told the team we'd all get rings if they win a championship. And then Steve Kerr freaking hit, I think, 6 3-pointers in the second half. I think he's still hitting threes right now. So I just say that to you, that I thought I was going to get one, and how special it is for you to have 5.
Yeah, it's something that you don't take for granted, for sure. And Steve Kerr coming in that game, I know it was hurtful for you, but he was ready. He didn't play a lot at that time. He was older in his career, and there's always a time in a playoff series, in a season, where a guy, they put in the work and they're there for the stay ready games, and they're not getting any clock, and then something happens and they come in and they perform. You could go right down the list with, a Danny Ferry who did that, a David Robinson when his back was, hurt a little bit, so you got to stay ready. And that's part of that journey, which is very special when you have that. And just getting back to the age factor, a lot of my guys think Steve Kerr is just a coach. So
Liam, growing up, who was your favorite player?
All time, I have to go with Tim Duncan. He was so good, but yeah. I have a special place in my heart for Kyle Anderson, UCLA guy. I was a big UCLA fan growing up, so those two for sure. Just watching Tim Duncan dominate for so long was so fun.
What's it like working for Bucky? What was it like working for Buzz?
Working for Bucky and working for Buzz could not be more different. Buck was always schedule oriented, always here 6 a.m. Bucky's a little later, but I would say Bucky, he's doing a good job of running this program, and I think it's been fun to be around for everybody involved. And I mean, practices are fun; they're fun to watch, fast paced, and it's just really good basketball to watch.
Well, talk to me about Pop. So we see the press. We know how great he is as a coach, right? We see the press conferences. Everybody who knows him says he's the best guy. Talk to me about Pop and your encounters with him.
Pop, he's the reason why I'm here. He hired me way back. He had faith and trust in me. But from the outside on some of the press conferences, he looks gruff and everything else. But there's not a man on the planet that cares more about the people that's around. He says, you could be digging ditches, whatever you're doing. This is just basketball. What matters is your relationships with people. Your relationships with your families, because at the end of the day, this is just a basketball game. So he would always have the team is always thinking about things outside of basketball when it's appropriate. And I've learned a tremendous amount from him, both on being a good family man, a good husband, a good father. And then just the hard work that it goes in and being there for your teammate, for your workmate, for, you being there for each other. And that's the biggest thing I say I could take away from it.
From the Tim Duncan era with Tony and Manu, what's something that we don't know? You're there, you see it. What is something about that era of Spurs basketball that we might not know?
I have a million stories and probably 999,000 of them I can't tell. But no, they were a special group. They cared about each other. They put in the work. They sacrificed. Manu should have been a starter his whole career, and he was came off the bench, and he did it because it was better for the team. Tim Duncan had I can't even count how many teammates, from two ways to 10-day contract guys that he helped with it, and he was a silent leader. He had a sense of humor. No one saw that, but he's one of my closest friends, and we still text jokes back and forth, and he's that group was very close in that they were selfless for each other, and they cared about each other. So it was a very tight-knit group.
Liam, talk to me about some of the Aggie basketball players you've worked with, from Henry Coleman to some of the new guys, Boots Radford. I'm sure you worked with him as well. And now we're going to get to meet a whole new staff, a new roster of players, because that's the era of basketball we're in.
Yeah, working with some of these guys has been fun. Henry Coleman was one of my close friends. He treated us managers like family. He took us out to dinner, and it was just fun. We'd hang around, watch sports games together. And people probably wouldn't expect this, but me and Jace Carter were also good friends too. He was a great guy off the floor, and he kind of took me in as his little brother, and it was good just to have that relationship and really get close to these guys, because most people don't think that managers or people on the staff would be close with their players, but these guys are like real family because you spend every day with them. So getting close to them, those are two of my best friends right there.
Liam, what's the game plan for you? All right, do you want to continue down this path after college? What are you hoping to do?
I'm hoping just to get my foot in the door somewhere after college in professional basketball. Just keep working. Basketball's my love, so I think that's what I want to keep doing. And eventually, I think I like coaching or scouting or something along those lines. So that's something I have my goals out to be, and I'm hoping to reach them for sure.
Will, how cool is it for you to watch your son, kind of do his own path, but also a similar path?
Yeah, it's great. And with all my kids, I want them to be happy in what they choose to do, whether it's in basketball or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be follow me, but I'll help them any way that I can. But he's a hard worker, and I think he was around it. He mentioned earlier on treatment days, we'd have it once a week, maybe it was a Sunday, where we'd have just treatments, no floor work. And I would go in there, and at that time, our staffs are 13, 14 strong now. At that time, it was myself and an assistant trainer. So we'd be giving treatments to the players, and it was just like a YMCA gym for my kids and their kids. So they'd come in, they'd make up games on the floor. They were always there. So I saw that he really loved it, and I'm super proud that he's on his own path, but he's doing a great job of it. And the main thing is just showing up every day. So I couldn't be prouder.
Talk to me about Wemby and what, something maybe we don't know about him. He seems like a gracious young man who is learning the NBA game and also dominating, but this is part of the growth pattern.
Yeah, he's pretty tall. Incredibly skilled. And has an inner drive that's way up at the top of all these players that I've seen, and he wants to be good. And no one outside of us in that locker room from October believed, that we could do great things. And he's a big part of it. And yes, there was disappointment at the end, but that's how you grow. I feel like we were good enough, but you have to give the Knicks credit. They had that experience. I don't want to just blame it on experience, but just that inner drive from being veterans, being around. And this was a great learning period for both Wemby and our whole team. And it's going to only help us in the future. I mean, I was in the other day closing up shop and Vic's already in there lifting. So, trying to get stronger, and, he's got a tall frame that needs strength on it, and there's no one that works harder.
Liam, what do you think about this upcoming basketball season? You think we got a pretty good little squad?
Yeah, seeing these first couple of practices, I think this is one of probably the better teams I've been around talent-wise, and, they're starting to gel together. Like last summer, we didn't even get to practice 5-on-5 until midway through July because we didn't have the guys. But this team, I think, is going to be special, and I think it's going to knock down doors that this program's never seen before.
I don't know how much you can share, Will, but what's the plan for Father's Day? I hope you're around a bunch of your kids.
I probably, my father lives close too, so yeah. I might have to fire up the smoker and get some ribs going or something. I haven't done that since we had an extra 2 months of work here, but probably just relax around the family. So that's it, and watch the dogs run around. So.
Well, Will and Liam, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Awesome story, and very happy to have you on the show, and I hope to get you guys again at some point.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on. Liam, good to see you. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Gig 'em. Awesome stuff there from Will and Liam Sevening. All right, we're going to hit a break. When we come back in TexAgs, we'll digest that a little bit and look ahead as Pat Henry is going to join us here in studio in a few minutes. Thank you to them again for joining us here on the program. Right now, though, let's talk a little Fritella. Actually, we'll talk about Fritella in a little bit. We'll talk about Fritella in a little bit because I don't have it in front of me. And that's embarrassing, but that's what happens. It's TexAgs Live.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome back into TexAgs Live, presented by David Garner's Jewelers. Kay Nagley sitting in the host chair right now because we have some really exciting news. As Maya Obog has committed to Texas A&M volleyball, a standout outside in the 2028 class. Maya, thanks for joining us, and just tell us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, tell us why you ultimately picked Texas A&M.
So my parents also went to A&M, and I just loved it ever since I was a kid. Like, if you saw the video, there's just photos of me wearing A&M gear, and even when I had my first call, like, I already knew this is the place I wanted to be. I just love the coaching staff. I love the campus and just everything about it. I love it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the recruiting process. I'm sure it was a wild couple days. You said you kind of already knew, but just one fielding offers, and then obviously you had it in your heart you wanted to go to A&M.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say it was a very quick recruiting process. Like, I committed June 16th, so the day right after.
Yeah.
But it was a little stressful. Like, the June 15th, I was so stressed, overwhelmed, and I just prayed, and I knew in my heart, like, this is where I want to be. If you ask any of my friends or teammates, they know I've literally been rambling about Texas A&M for quite some time. But yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm finally at Aggie.
Yeah. Oh, we are excited too. I was actually there when you were at camp last Friday when you were here on Texas A&M's campus, so got to see you a little bit. Tell me about that experience and just being at, in Aggieland right before you committed.
It was so amazing. I really wanted to see the place just to, like, make sure that's where I wanted to go. I mean, I've obviously been to the campus before, but, like, get to play around and see all the high-level competition there is just amazing and just sealed the deal for me.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about how you took in the national championship run. I love hearing the different perspectives. So just each game, were you always locked into the TV, just making sure you had it turned on?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was watching every game, even after like probably like last month. I've watched the championship game and the Nebraska game probably like 5 times. Like, it's crazy. It's my most watched video. Like, I've watched it way too many times, but it was just so amazing. I love watching it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was there in person, and I still go back and rewatch all the time. Tell me a little bit about just Jamie Morrison and this staff. Like, what kind of impact they've had on you and how comfortable they made you feel right away.
They made me feel so comfortable. They're just a great coaching staff. They definitely care a lot. They're just so amazing. I can't wait to get to campus. Like, oh my God, I can't wait. So amazing.
You spoke a little bit about both your parents being Aggies. Talk to me a little bit about your dad playing basketball here. Did that have a big role in wanting to be a student athlete at Texas A&M?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, when I was younger, I'd come here all the time and go around campus, and they'd show me like what they used to do when they were here. And it's just like, I loved it. I already knew this was where I wanted to be. So yeah.
Was staying close to home kind of important for you?
Not really. I mean, if I had to leave, if like there was a place I wanted to go that was out of state, then I would have went out of state. But I like staying home. I'm excited.
Talk to me a little bit about your high school and just club career so far. I've obviously have seen accolades upon accolades, but just from your perspective, just how cool has it have been to go through this high school process so far?
Yes, it's so exciting. Like, I've met so many new people and just had so many great coaches along the way. Like, without them, I would not be here. And I'm just so grateful for all the people that have helped push me to become a better player. Like, at Mad Frog and at TAV, like, it's just helped me grow to the next level. And then also with like school volleyball, like just playing with all my friends, it's just so amazing.
Yeah. And lastly, before I let you go, if people are out there and they're new to volleyball or new to Aggie volleyball fans, tell me what kind of player they are getting in Maya.
Very energetic, very fun, very aggressive, like in a good way, and just very energetic. I love just celebrating my teammates and just bringing the fire to the court.
Yeah, it definitely shows up on film, I'll tell you that. Maya, thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right, Kay Nagley did that interview yesterday, debuting here on TexAgs Live. She's here in the studio now because we got some more breaking news about, I don't know how many minutes, 20 minutes ago. Amari Frazier commits to A&M, and she's also a top 20 player, right?
She is, yeah. I mean, what a few couple days for Jamie Morrison and company. They had visions of going and recruiting a really, really good class, capitalizing off the national championship run. And they do just that by bringing in the number 1 player, the number 17 player, and the number 18 player in the country. Speaking of Amari Frazier, who just announced about 20 minutes ago, she is another top arm. So you're really getting some elite talent from that high school level. These girls are only 16 years old, and you put on the film, and it's absolutely ridiculous so far. She plays at Xavier College Preparatory in Arizona. She also won a state title last year. So Morrison is just bringing in winners. They know exactly what it takes to perform at an elite level. They are all involved in the USA ranks. They've all been in those gyms where you are trained with the best of the best in the building. So another great get. She's 6'4" and has a 10'3" touch approach. If you don't really know volleyball, that is very, very good for her age group. She is going to immediately be an impact player, does profile as a middle and an opposite, just like Maya Mortensen. So they are getting stacking some talent in those areas, but really excited about her addition.
All right, let's look in the future then, because with the class that they brought in this year, the class that they're bringing in next year, this is a program that's building for not just one national championship. They will want to be in the mix every season.
They are, for sure. And it's hard. Who wants to turn down Jamie Morrison right now? You don't want to say no to him. He has the hardware, and they've had a bunch of different camps. I got to go to one yesterday, 2029 and 2030. Dat Wynn's daughter is one of those 2 prospects. She's a libero, and he was there checking out the camp as well. And I was like, he's just bringing winners in this building. It was really cool to see that, and just some of the talent of girls see, of course, the shiny trophy, and that means a lot. But I also think they get in the gym and they see how the staff treats them, and they see all the former players and current players that are around that absolutely love to be in that building and love the coaching staff. So it speaks for itself. You don't have to have the sparkly hardware, but it sure does help when you have humans and coaches who love you and appreciate you as well.
When do they start training?
Volleyball, I don't know the exact date.
It's in July sometime, though, right?
Though they have a weird period where they can only have a certain amount of hours that they're allotted to be there. Right now is camp season, so they are over there at Reed Arena hosting, hopefully, a lot of future Aggies over there at Reed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
Appreciate you. All right, let's talk a little Frutella. I got the copy in front of me, all right? Renard had it. When you're craving authentic Italian food right here in the Brazos Valley, you and your friends should go to that one place, Frutella Italian Cafe in Bryan. Family-owned restaurants all about fresh homemade cooking crafted with every single ingredient every single day. From recipes passed down through generations to locally sourced ingredients, every dish delivers a true taste of Italy. And let's talk about what makes them unique. Their signature Frutella, it's like a calzone, but fried to golden perfection, stuffed with marinara, mozzarella, and your choice of a delicious filling. Lunch specials, pizza, you name it, great desserts. They have it all. It is Frutella Italian Cafe, and they can cater your next event. Visit them at 3901 South Texas Avenue in Bryan and discover why it's more than a meal and a reel. It's a tradition. It's Frutella. There are great coaches, there are Hall of Fame coaches, and then there's Pat Henry. After 54 years in coaching, 37 national championships, 10 NCAA titles at A&M, 27 at LSU, 53 Olympians, and countless conference champions. The most decorated coach in NCAA track and field history announced his retirement, and he's here today, and we're going to celebrate the legend. Pat Henry here on TexAgs Live.
No, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
And I don't hug a lot of guys, but first thing I did is I hugged this guy when I saw him today.
Yeah, you did.
So let's start off with, when did you make the decision? How did you make the decision? And how at peace are you with the decision?
Yeah, I am. I don't think anytime you've been in this profession for this long, if something's easy, there's something wrong. This is very difficult. It's not easy. It's very difficult. But I also know when it's time. You know, I'm at an age that it's time. I've been fortunate enough to have a wife that's followed me around for 54 years and done what I wanted to do. Now I'd like to be able to do some things with her that she wants to do, you know. And so that makes this decision easy. That part of it makes it very easy. Walking away from the job is very difficult.
One of the things that I marvel at is not only all the national championships, your sustained success. It doesn't matter the era. We've had coaches here do really nice jobs, but the era changes and it's hard to catch up. You won in this era. You've won in every era that you've coached in. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because that is important. That is the most important thing to me. We've won 10 championships here. And we have those trophies in the boxes over at, display boxes over at our facility, and people need to come over and see that sometime because we get a great lobby. But in the back of that room, in the back of the team room, we have 22 trophies in boxes that were Final Fours. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of runner-ups in there, and those teams are every bit as good as the ones that won. We were just fortunate enough to win on that day. But I think consistency and having a staff that understands what I wanted to try to do, and that is that the level of work has got to be consistent. We got to work hard all the time. There's no ups and downs. And if you aren't able to do that, then you're in the wrong place. And I've been fortunate to always been able to hire guys who are of like philosophy, and we have some cohesiveness in the staff. And you know, our staff is 8 people. We have eight coaches, so there has to be that. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to put together groups of men and women that are that way.
You brought it up during your press conference, don't let the day get away from you. That's kind of the mantra. And I feel like that is so applicable in any walk of life. It could be athletics. It can be your business. It could be your family. You live for the moment.
And that's what I preach to our team is it's written on the walls in our building. That's the one thing I have written on the walls over there is don't let the day get away, because that's exactly right. Whether it's in your life, it's in your business, in sport. You have no guarantee that you get this day back, and no guarantee that there's one tomorrow. We have to take advantage of the day we have today to hopefully make tomorrow even just a little bit better.
Let's go back to when Bill Byrne came to your house and he brought Dr. John Thornton, and you were interested, but you weren't sure.
Yeah.
You had to convince your wife.
Yeah.
What went into that part of it? Because, I mean, you still have a son in Baton Rouge. You have a grandkid going to LSU.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a hard transition for the family, but you felt it in your heart it was the right move. How did you get her to follow along?
I twisted her arm. You know, Gail has always, we've made other moves. That's not the only move we made. I mean, I moved from a high school to a junior college and took a cut in pay to do that. You know, sometimes you got to step back to step up. And we did that, and that was difficult. It was when we left the junior college and went to LSU, it was a difficult move too. But she knew we had faith in each other that we were making the right decision. And so when we left LSU, yeah, it was difficult. My daughter had just gotten married the day before, and we were on a bus taking a whole bunch of people to this wedding, and I told her A&M had called, and we had just won. We just won one, and she said, "So?" And I said, "Well, we lived not far away from here for about 4 years, so I had a chance to see a little bit about A&M. But my family's all athletics. My grandfather was head football coach at Kansas and at Missouri, so we talked athletics my whole life, and so A&M had always come up in conversations. So, but Gail listened. Well, when I said they're coming over to visit with us tomorrow, that wasn't the most pleasant conversation. She says, I don't want to leave here. And I said, well, I understand, but you got to listen. And so when they came to the front door, no kidding, she answered the door and said, I'm not leaving. And Bill kind of stood up and he came. So I invited him in. We sat down at the table and we had a great discussion. And so she decided Bill is a convincing man. John Thornton did a good job. And so she said, okay, I'll look. And she would have looked whether it didn't make any difference. She was coming with me. If I'd said. So when we came over, she understood what I was talking about. And it didn't take long.
And now she loves this community.
Yeah, this is home. This is where she wants to be.
Okay, so we talk about A&M and being such a special place.
Yeah.
What is it like for you in your eyes? Like, what makes this community, Bryan College Station, Texas A&M, the culture, what makes it so special?
You know, when my time at LSU, it was a great time. That 17 years and that community. I mean, I loved Baton Rouge. I still do. I still love LSU. I have a great love for LSU. This is just different. Mm-hmm. This is different in every way you can talk about it. It's different. And in my perspective, it's better. And another institution has great pride, great traditions, not like here. And people love other schools, not like here. The network that we talk about to our youth that want to come here is true, it's there. And other places, it's not like here. Mm-hmm. And so everything about this place makes all of that different. The people are, A&M people are good people. This community has tremendous people. We have a great community, and I can't say enough about the whole of this community. We really enjoy this place, and this is our home.
I want to brag about you, and I hope you take this as a brag. One of the things that I love about you is I will hear from you because you want your sport promoted. You believe so much in your athletes and in this sport, and I think that is part of what makes you so great at what you do. Is like, hey, David, let's get some track and field on. Like, you're not shy about it, and I love that about you because that's how part of the way you built an empire, but also how much you love and respect what your athletes have done.
Yeah, I think there's never an understanding. It's like soccer coming to the United States. Mm-hmm. I hope a lot of us that don't understand that. The sport is so big. I mean, it is massive around the world. We don't have that field in the United States right now, you know? And if you go around in Europe and you go to a soccer game over there and you feel exactly what these people are talking about, it's unbelievable. Well, track is really the same way. Mm-hmm. Our country just doesn't understand that. And part of that is the NCAA's fault. They've done a poor job with our sport. I could talk an hour about this. I don't want to. And I'm working hard to have change in our sport. We can't be looked at as an individual sport. We have to be a team sport. And so that's what I'm trying to sell, and that's what I'm trying to sell when I talk to you. Our people, this is about a team. And we want to win as a team. Winning the 100 meters is important, but that's part of what we're trying to do. And so that's why I want to talk to you about what kind of commitment. Our athletes are no different than any of our other athletes here. And people need to see that. And if you love to watch athletics, any sport, you should come watch track because you will be amazed at it. And our women in this community, if you haven't come to a female track meet and you don't understand, went to high school and you saw what was going on in junior high and high school, that's not track. That's a fun day. When you come up here, ladies, you're going to understand what track and field is.
So I've already told Coach Henry I'm going to try to get him on the show in this next phase, next season of life for you. But is A&M track and field, are they in good hands moving forward?
Yes. A&M has, there's no question in my mind. We are so fortunate to have hired Trev Alberts as our AD. He's a coach's coach, first of all, but he is very intelligent. But he's down to earth. He's an athlete. He's a great athlete himself. And so he has great perspective on a lot of things. And he thinks, he listens to you, he talks to you, he looks at you eye to eye. He doesn't direct traffic. He wants to hear and then direct traffic. And I think that is so important for all of us.
And you're going to be involved in some way?
Yes, some way.
And an exhaustive search, we're going to find the right person?
We'll find the right person, yeah. We'll find the right person.
Well, as long as you're around, I'm happy. I've enjoyed our interviews throughout the years,
me
and
too.
I know they're not going to stop. And I'm proud to know you as a friend, and I've covered your part of your career. You've been a great addition to our program. Thank you so much for making a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I had you on the show, I think I called you a legend. You didn't like that, but you're a legend, sir, and you've been a legend for a long time.
Well, thank you very much, David. I appreciate it. In our community, I appreciate the way you have embraced track. I hope we can do more.
Yeah, we will, and we'll do our part here on TexAgs.
Yep, thank you.
The great Pat Henry here on TexAgs. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with one final segment of the program before I hit vacation. Right now, if you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA and the CPA. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. I know people have been hanging out with me enough when they start cursing in Spanish. TexAgs Live. Shout out to Reese Nygren and Renard. As a reminder, this is the final segment of the program brought to you by Double Dave's. And it's caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls and a large one-topping pizza. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Shout out to Coach Henry. That was fun. The GOAT. I'm going to miss the weekly hits, but we're going to get him on the show quite a bit, just like Coach G. Coach G's my guy. I'm going to miss doing those hits. I'm loving my relationship with Bobby Shuttleworth, but I miss the legends. All right, Nygren, because I have senioritis and I got vacay on the mine with my friend AK staying at the house. So we have dogs. We have to have people living there. Will you tell us what's popping on TexAgs today?
Yeah, so we have a lot going on TexAgs today, and I'm going to use the always used line of it is never a bad time to become a TexAgs premium subscriber. Some of the things that we have on TexAgs today, threads galore. Everybody gets a thread. Bronny's baseball transfer portal thread. We have Kay and Kayla's softball transfer portal thread. Kay's volleyball 2028 recruiting tracker thread. And Luke's men's basketball offseason thread. Had to give that a shout out. If you don't want threads, don't worry. There's plenty of Jason Howell content as well. Story on the new football commit, Caden Henderson, his 3 things. He and Bronny's in-home visit with Caden Henderson. And Jason's around TexAgs recruiting. We have Bronny's interview with new right-handed pitcher Wade Cooper. Richard's article on Wade Cooper. And again, sign up for preseason kickoff. That is just around the corner. Later today and this weekend, the threads will be popping all weekend long. And then later today, we have an NIL interview with Tennessee transfer Ricky Gibson III.
By the way, somebody's saying, hey, we want to hear more about Wade Cooper. We talked about him a little bit in the first hour. I'm just going to read you a little bit of the stat line here. Struck out 73 batters in 66 innings worth of work there with Texas State. No place he'd rather be. As a freshman, 4.72 ERA, 1.35 whip in 23 appearances. So yeah, we could absolutely use him. And the Aggies saw his work in a 9-8 loss there in San Marcos. A couple of things to close out the show with. Let's see. Hopefully, a lot more news from a recruiting standpoint for all sports. Baseball, we're looking at you. I think you've had a good run. There might be a little bit more. I don't know if volleyball's got any more left, but
that's a Kay Nagley question. But
we'll
take more.
As we learned earlier in the show, there's the Jedi Master, there's the Master Wayne in Batman, and now there's the Glute Master when it comes to Reese Nygren and Renard.
Me and Renard, I guess we are the Glute Masters.
I don't have the schedule of hosts next week in front of me. Let's see. No, I don't have it. So I know Kay and Callie are hosting. I know Bronny. I don't know if actually Bronny's hosting next week.
It's Luke and Reese on Monday, Richard on Tuesday, me and Luke on Wednesdays, Kay and Callie on Thursday and Friday.
So those shows are going to be upgrades. Appreciate them filling in for me while I'm gone. Thank you to everybody. I'm going to be out the door in the next 2.5 minutes. See you next time.